The dawn service has been held in dismal conditions at the cenotaph in Martin Place. Prime Minister Kevin Rudd, along with thousands of others, braved the conditions to pay tribute to the diggers of all wars and conflicts since the Anzac legend was born at Gallipoli 93 years ago.
By the time the Gallipoli Peninsula was evacuated, it had become hallowed ground, the forging place of a nation. It was Australia's shrine.
Later this morning, there'll be the traditional Anzac Day march through cities and towns across the country. And joining us once more from the cenotaph in Sydney is Sharon McKenzie.
Thanks so much, Gary. You're probably very familiar, well, certainly if you live in Sydney you are, with the digger on Anzac Bridge, and the sculptor responsible for the digger, Alan Somerville, joins me now. Good morning, Alan.
Good morning.
Now, I understand our digger is about to get a mate.
Yes, that's true. It's been a little bit of a wait, but finally we're placing him tomorrow, Saturday, for the official opening on the 27th, which is Sunday.
And it's quite significant that this mate will be a Kiwi.
Yes, very significant. Yeah. Well, so I suppose that's the way it should be. The bridge is named Anzac, so it's appropriate that finally we've got a Kiwi there.
Now, the digger, of course, was put in place in the year 2000. Tell us about the process that it's taken you to put the Kiwi together now.
The process, well, I suppose from the initial commissioning, I have to model the work on over a steel armature with a modelling medium. In this case, I'll call it plasticine. Like we knew as kids, there's about 450 kilos of plasticine over the mesh, and then once that's finished and I'm satisfied, then it's transported to the foundry where they take rubber moulds which actually pick up my fingerprints, and then waxes are taken from the rubber moulds, and the waxes, this goes back to the old lost wax method of casting, which is 5,000 years old, and we can't really improve it, which is fantastic. And it's done in sections, and then each section is welded together, and the welds are then chased back to my original modelling style.
I think we do have some shots, if we have them on hand, of the current digger.
Right.
And in terms of the size, they're going to be fairly similar, aren't they?
Yes, they're virtually identical. They're both 4.2 metres. I keep telling Australians that the Kiwi's 2 inches taller, but of course the hat allows for that. He's got the traditional lemon squeezer hat on. That's really the only significant difference.
Okay, and I mean, it's been a big job, hasn't it? I mean, just the sheer size of these statues.
I think about 9 months total. I'm about 4.5 months, and the foundry's about the same, so that's about it. And of course, with these things, as always, you never get the go-ahead until the last minute, so it's generally pretty full-on when it happens.
So we've talked a bit about, Alan, the process of you actually putting the Kiwi together, but there's the transport issue of actually getting the Kiwi in place and mounting it on top of the bridge.
Yes, that's true. There's 2 lanes of the bridge shut off tomorrow. There'll be a big crane there. I've actually not seen it standing up in the bronze because all the work at the foundry has to be done in a horizontal position, so there's still a few nerves there just wondering what he actually looks like.
Now, the Australian digger has a permanent reminder of the battlefields of Gallipoli inside. Will the Kiwi have a similar feature?
Yes, exactly. When the original Australian was put there, there was a jar of Gallipoli sand placed under the foot, and the same will happen with the New Zealander. And there's a funny little aside, I don't know if you know, but when the president of the RSL was placing that sand under the Australian digger with this 2-ton sculptor above him, unbeknown to him, the driver of the crane was of Turkish descent. I suppose that's allowed today, is it? Yes.
I guess it is a reminder, though, that the Anzac legend, it's a permanent reminder that it was very much forged by 2 countries.
Exactly, yes.
So the only real difference will be the hat.
Virtually, yeah. I guess there's a few little bits in the face that the expressions might be slightly different, but I think they're fairly close.
Okay.
Yeah.
You must be very proud of the work when you travel across Anzac Bridge to see the digger standing there.
Well, I'm pretty chuffed to have had the chance to do them both, I must say that. There's always things you see you'd like to maybe improve on, but that's the way of art, I suppose.
Just on a personal note, what does Anzac Day mean for you?
Well, I suppose I was brought up, like most Australasians, on the Anzac ethic, and my farming days were with my partner was a returned serviceman, and we always went to Anzac Day. It was a big thing in New Zealand, Poppy Day and all the rest of it. So yes, it means a lot to me. I think it's the melding in a way of the two countries. In a way, it's got, we're very similar in lots of ways.
Thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Well, Gary, there you have it, a permanent reminder now on the Anzac Bridge that the Anzac legend was in fact forged by two nations, our digger to get a mate as of Sunday with a Kiwi.
Sharon McKenzie reporting for Sky, following the dawn service this morning at the Cenotaph in Martin Place, and we'll be hearing further from Sharon.